Welcome replay viewers. Welcome viewers watching on mathwithmatthew.com. My name is Dr. Matthew Bayranovan. I'm the Mathematics Department Coordinator for Chelmsford Public Schools in Massachusetts. And also, I am an Adjunct Professor of Education, and I'm an Adjunct Professor of Mathematics at two different universities. And thank you so much for coming to watch this scope. Not a lot of people within this scope do scopes on education. I'm one of the few people, and we're doing a scope today talking about education, talking about teaching, and this is going to be talking about lesson planning. And what I want to do is encourage you. Thank you, Chelms Tech, for sharing my website, mathwithmatthew.com. It is a great website. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's great. And I encourage you to invite your followers on Twitter or on Periscope to watch this scope that I'm doing. And if you're willing to do that, I really appreciate it. When we go into school, graduate school ourselves, and we talk about lesson planning, the work that we do as educators for lesson planning is very different from what actually occurs in the classroom when you become a teacher. And I want to talk a few minutes about this disconnect and what things I really want to focus on when you are a teacher, what's important for lesson planning. So when you're in undergraduate or graduate school and you are becoming a teacher, what they really focus on is that you do these thorough, complete lesson plans. They might take you many hours to do the lesson plans, to create them. They might be 4, 5, or 6 pages. And then you take these lesson plans and you implement them in the classroom. And you create a variety of lesson plans. Maybe you create a unit plan. And then what happens is, for most people, you become a teacher, and then all of a sudden you stop lesson planning altogether. Some people might do it in their plan book very briefly for 30 seconds or a minute, or they just look at the teacher's edition as to what the teacher's edition of their textbook says, but they really don't lesson plan anymore. Now, is that important? Is that okay? I believe that there are 3 very important factors for all teachers to focus on when they're planning their lessons and they're delivering their lessons. So even if you're not writing these formal lesson plans, it's important that you think about 3 things. And I want to share these 3 things with you, and I'd be curious about if there are other things that you think are necessary. The first thing is that all lessons that are planned and implemented have to be objective-based. The lessons cannot be activity-based, where we just say, oh, I learned about this great activity, let's try it out with the class. Teachers' lessons should be based upon objectives or goals. The goals, the purpose of the lesson should be created by the teacher. It should be posted and shared to the class, and it should be discussed at the beginning and the end of the lesson. Why are we doing what we're doing? As a math teacher, or as a math professor, as a math coordinator, I believe it's very important that we tell the kids, this is why we're doing what we're doing. What's the purpose? How can it be applied to the real world? How can it be applied to the next lesson we're going to be doing, or further on? Understanding by design. Exactly right, Dr. Hirsch. Start your lessons by what is your objective, okay? In the way you plan and in the way you do your lessons, is that you start with an objective first. So to me, that is the most critical piece. The second piece I think is very important in planning and implementing lessons is the assessments. And by the assessments, I don't mean a formal period-long quiz or a period-long test that you're doing. I'm talking about having quick assessments throughout the lesson to gauge the student's understanding. The first assessment should occur during the warm-up problem, the problem of the day, where people are able to Chelms Tech asked the questions, do you tell the students which standards are being addressed? Very good question. I think that that's optional. I think it's more important for the students to know the purpose or objective in student-friendly language so that they understand. Standards are written in more teacher language, things that teachers, adults, educators understand. Some teachers like to share what the actual standards are. I don't think that that is a critical piece, and I don't think that they need to do that. If you want to do it, that's great. It's more important that you just share the objective in student-friendly language so they know this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and this is our goal. Now back to the assessments. We should be doing a quick assessment in the beginning of the lesson as we have our warm-up problem, our problem of the day, to make sure that the students have the prior knowledge necessary to do the lesson. Now if my lesson that I'm doing is on pi, finding the value, the area of a circle, and I don't know how to multiply by decimals, or I don't know how to write a ratio, I'm not going to be able to do a lesson on pi. I'm not going to be able to do a lesson on the Pythagorean theorem if I don't know anything about square roots, okay, or how to find squares. It's very important that we have assessments throughout the lesson. Quick check-ins. Some examples of some formative assessments could be student-selected check-ins, like thumbs up, sideways, thumbs down. How are we doing, class? Give me a thumbs up, sideways, thumbs down. Give me a 1 to 5. 5 means everybody feels really comfortable with what we're doing right now. 1 means we're really confused and you need me to come over and give you some help. Give me a number. Show me a cup, a red, a green, a yellow cup. Or it could be using some technology as a way to do these quick assessments, using clickers or other ways where the whole class has to answer a particular question and within 5 seconds the teacher gets immediate feedback. So when you're planning a lesson and you're implementing a lesson, you have to think about how you're going to assess your class. And if you don't think about this, there's a pretty good chance that the lesson will not be a success, because the teacher won't know what's occurring and what actual learning is taking place. So the first thing I talked about is having objective-based lessons. The second thing I talked about is assessments. And the third thing that you need to think about when planning and implementing your lessons is a summary phase. Okay? What I don't like to see in a class is that the class is over now and it ends because the bell rang and the kids are all doing their work. No matter what, even if it's a 2-period lesson, you need to spend 5 to 7 minutes having a summary phase of the lesson where you get everybody back together. You review that objective. Hey, class, look at what our goal was. Let's look at our goal, our objective, our purpose for the day. How did we do? Did we cover all the objectives? Do we need to go for another day? Have that discussion. And also check for those assessments again there. We're going to do a ticket to leave. We're going to have some sort of a discussion. We need to have some closure to the lesson. And then the final thing is preview the homework. Now, a lot of teachers have their kids struggle with not doing their homework. And there's a couple reasons that I've found through my own experience and through my research. One reason is teachers assign homework that actually don't really have a lot to do with what they learned in the class. But a more important reason is they need to preview what the homework actually is. Class, we're going to do these 10 problems tonight. Everybody open up your book. Let's look at the first question together, okay? Let's all do the first question. Build up a little bit of comfort. Give them a little bit of confidence that they can do it, even if they're not solving it. What's the first step we would do here? Oh, we have to write a ratio first. Does everybody see that for the first question? So when they get home and they look at the homework, it's not the first time they've seen it and they say, oh, I don't know what to do. You've built up a little confidence. So the last 5 to 7 minutes of every lesson, I like to have a summary phase, review the objective, do a little bit of assessment, and then preview the homework and maybe foreshadow what we're going to do tomorrow. Class, we did a great job talking about the Pythagorean theorem today. Now, we're going to be doing the converse of the Pythagorean theorem tomorrow. We're going to give you triangles, and we're going to figure out, are they right triangles? And let them know, man, maybe they'll get excited, maybe they won't get excited about it, but at least show them the logical progression as to what is happening next. So, lesson planning, not a very popular thing for teachers, and I can understand why. It takes a lot of time. But if we can focus on just those 3 important things, objectives, assessments, and a summary phase of a lesson, I think overall we're going to improve student learning. Thank you very much for listening to this scope. Thank you for watching replay viewers, and for those of you that are watching this on mathwithmatthew.com, I appreciate it as well. And if you take a look at the website, mathwithmatthew.com, it's a great thing for a TV show. There's podcast episodes on there. There's math music videos on there, and I'm adding these periscopes to it as well. So thanks so much for watching tonight. I appreciate it.